A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News with me, Sam Kalisa, and I'm with Megan, my guest anchor tonight. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very okay as well. So we'll come back to her with a time, and of course as we kick off with our tonight's edition, with Africa continuing to lag behind in the fight against COVID-19, with less than 20% of the people on the continent fully vaccinated against the virus. African parliamentarians have commended Rwanda for having fully vaccinated more than 60% of its population. Serge Nhore kickstarts tonight's bulletin with this report.
On the second and final day of the 77th session of the Executive Committee of the African Parliamentary Union, questions were raised as to how countries like Rwanda have been able to vaccinate such a large number of people against COVID-19 when many other countries on the continent have continued to struggle.
Is it possible that countries like Rwanda that have succeeded in vaccinating a big population, big percentage, can give us some responses that we can use in our countries to convince our population? Because some of our countries are really, the percentage is very low, and we are very concerned.
Rwanda's Minister of Health told the delegates that it was a simple matter of looking at the facts and telling the general public the truth about the situation. Like I said before, we never once sought to ignore the fact that the pandemic existed or hide the infection figures. That sort of transparency enabled the general public to quickly realize that the threat was real and that there was a virus going around capable of killing people and that it infected victims quickly. They realized that it does not kill only white people, because some had started to deceive themselves that we Africans are somehow immune to it, which is obviously not the case. Sensitization efforts paid off and people understood that it was better to get vaccinated and tested regularly so that patients could receive care as soon as possible. Rwanda's Minister of State in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning also told the parliamentarians of how Rwanda decided to set up a recovery fund to help the country's economy recover quickly from the effects of the pandemic. And questions were also asked about how Rwandans have been able to rebuild their country after the terrible tragedy of the 1994 genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi. And those questions were answered by Dr. Usta Kaitesi, the CEO of the Rwanda Governance Board.
The post-genocide transformative governance approach was intentionally inclusive, but also knowing that the reconstruction journey is only going to be possible and different when you are intentionally inclusive. That means you bring women and men on board. Just in the immediate aftermath of genocide, our laws were very discriminative against women. Only a child born of a Rwandan woman would be Rwandan only if the father was unknown. Otherwise, the child would automatically take the nationality of the man who is responsible for the child. In the immediate aftermath of the genocide, our law on trade did not permit married women to trade except with the permission of the husband. And part of what happened just after genocide was to eliminate those discriminative laws.
Other speakers at the gathering included Beata Habyarimana, Rwanda's Minister of Trade and Industry, and she highlighted the importance of the African Continental Free Trade Area and called on countries yet to sign and ratify the agreement to do so as quickly as possible. The session ended on Friday evening.
Thank you, Serge Nhore, for the report. And moving ahead, officials in the Rwanda's central bank have noted that for the gender gap to be closed in the financial sector, more needs to be done to give women access to information on the management of projects and how they can access different services in the sector. This comes as the Rwanda Stock Exchange rang its bell for gender equality on Friday. Serge Nhore continues.
Yvette Ishimwe is an entrepreneur who started the Iriba Water Group Limited back in 2017, providing clean water first to her home and neighbors, and now the company has its own water purification plant in the eastern province, providing bottled water across the country and beyond her borders. She says women need to do more with the opportunities they have.
There is so many gender stereotypes, women, capacity, so many people really question our abilities. But I think as women, it's up to us to fight for ourselves. So there is no one who is going to come and fight for us. If you have an idea, you have a business, and you believe you can do this, you have a vision for it, go for it. Someone is going to discourage you, But don't listen to that. Listen to someone who's encouraging you. And you have to really also know that it's not only the negatives. It's not only the stereotype comments. It's not only the negative comments and discouraging. There is also some encouraging people who are out there, supporters, investors, opportunities. Go for them and focus on that. Don't focus on the negatives, focus on the positives, and believe in that power that comes from you.
Research indicates that supporting female-led SMEs can help increase the global GDP by $285 million, which is why those in Rwanda's financial sector believe gender equality is a cause worth fighting for.
As stock markets, we are in profitable business. We are in business of making money and creating wealth. So, but by ringing the bell, it's again to showcase, it's again to bring attention to the entire planet. At least, once a year, we reflect on this cause, which is a good one and which is a profitable one for capitalists, because we're in a capitalistic world, and we bridge the gap, but we also, by bridging the gap, it attracts more businesses to think about it, and we are promoting that within the private sector, because most companies are in the private sector. The biggest employers are in the private sector. So we believe that by doing this, we will achieve that goal of bridging the gap, and we make the world we live in a better place.
As IFC, what we do is that when we're considering investing in companies, we also we bring up the gender issue, and with the governance, we always look out for diversity in businesses, so we encourage companies to include women in many of these ventures. So it's part of our DNA now. We always look out for gender angle. When you go to agriculture, you're going to find most of the workforce is really women. But when you come into corporate entities, we've also, over the years, to support this equity in jobs and gender partnerships, we've always supported. We have incorporated it in our assessment of companies. And if those who don't have, we encourage and even we help with using advisory services.
Research carried out by Bloomberg LP on 1,000 companies back in 2016 found that women in leadership positions accounted for just 23%, while only 21% of board members were female. Only 4% of boards were led by women, and just 3% of companies. This is despite figures indicating that companies led by women tend to do better. Officials in Rwanda's central bank have noted that for the gender gap to be closed in the financial sector, more needs to be done to give women access to information on the management of projects and how they can access different services in the sector.
Government also has put in place different initiatives that support not only small and medium-sized enterprises, entrepreneurship, but that support women. But I think at the core of it is how do we empower women, not only to sort of have equal opportunities in education, but also equal opportunities in access to finance, which remain a challenge. And I think as National Bank of Rwanda, the advocacy we do or the research is on what are the factors that are hindering access to finance for SMEs, and be able to advocate in the institutions we regulate that they need to do more to finance SMEs, and in particular youth-led SMEs and women-led SMEs.
This is the 6th time the Rwanda Stock Exchange has rang its bell for gender equality, and this year more than 118 stock exchanges across the globe participated in the initiative that is held in March annually.
And as we move ahead to agricultural matters now, Rwanda has emerged the best performing country on the African continent in implementing the 7 commitments of the June 2014 Malabo Declaration, which seeks to end hunger and health poverty by 2025 through advancing agriculture. Farmers believe that the way they get seeds and fertilizers through the Nkunganire program and other government subsidies is one of the things that helps them to keep their produce up. We'd have the report.
It is morning hours, and farmers are working in a rice plantation in the Jabana wetland. During the planting season, they give us the seed and charge us on the harvest we get. We also get fertilizers through the Nkunganire program. we get the produce. For instance, on 5 hours, when you have applied fertilizer, you harvest between 150 to 200 kilograms. But with fertilizer, 5 hours generate a minimum of 300 kilograms. There is a difference because we get equipment and fertilizer from the government. The wetland is owned by the government, so it puts in effort to help citizens develop. Some of the Rwandans who have been trained from Israel and South Korea in the field of agriculture came together to form the Yala Yala group, which is now committed to contributing to the development of agriculture. The season ends with 300 to 500 hectares planted for farmers. That applies for those who are unable to buy their own digging machines. Other than that, some farmers need help in spraying insecticides, seed sowing, harvesting, and others. All that plays a role in speeding agricultural activities and increasing the produce. Rwanda emerged the best performing country on the African continent in implementing the Malabo Declaration, which seeks to advance agriculture and animal husbandry. 47 articles of the agreement are evaluated. They highlight the way in which agricultural development is aimed at enhancing food security and poverty, providing services that increase productivity, public and private investment in agriculture and animal husbandry, the role of the youth in agricultural and livestock development, and the fact that African governments must achieve the goal of allocating at least 10% of their budget in agriculture. The Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Dr. Geraldine Mukeshimana, reiterated that the achievement is due to the government's effort to develop agriculture and livestock, but there is still a long way to go in order to reach the desired target.
Icyo rero biba bitubwira nuko ni inzira tugifite nk'abanyafrika.
This implies that we still have a long way to go as Africans and as Rwandans, because regarding the development of agriculture and the elimination of poverty is a journey, and what is evident is that developing the agricultural sector is still the best way to get Africans out of poverty. So this means that we won't be reluctant, but rather put in more efforts.
The report on implementing the Malabo Agreement is published annually, and this is the third time that the report has been published. The report indicates that the COVID-19 pandemic strongly affected African countries and that more action is needed to improve agricultural and livestock activities.
The Rwanda Energy Group has given assurances that 3 more hydroelectric power plants will soon be operational, helping to reduce the cost of electricity, which many say is too high. We do have more.
Industries and other sectors engaged in commercial activities all seem to complain about the cost of electricity in Rwanda, saying such high tariffs affect their businesses.
Yes, I think I would really confirm that, because when you look at the price we pay per unit, it's quite high. However, we are grateful on the side the side that the government, we plead for these the price to be lowered, and indeed the price were lowered, but still we face high level when in terms of the bills of electricity. When you compare to other consumables we have and amenities we require, especially that when you look at the time we need the electricity, be for lighting, be for storing or keeping our products fresh, be for cleaning, meaning in the laundry side, where we have machineries, machineries including washing and drying, and even ironing. Those are equipments that require a lot of electricity. And then we will the view to at least request that the price be calibrated to the level of industrial sector, because again, as you look at how we really use the electricity, we also use it 24 hours. Be it that we have guests or not, we still consume electricity.
Many homeowners also complain about the cost of electricity, saying they do not understand why it increases the more units a person buys during the month. In January 2020, it was decided that homes using less than 15 kilowatts per month should pay 89 francs per kilowatt. Those using between 15 and 50, 212 Rwandan francs, while those using above 50 kilowatts pay 249 Rwandan francs per kilowatt. Non-residential buildings using less than 100 kilowatts per month pay 227 Rwandan francs, while those using more than that pay 225 Rwandan francs. Statista, a German company specializing in market and consumer data, has ranked Rwanda among the top 10 African countries with the highest energy costs. Consumer rights advocates in the country say more needs to be done to explain to consumers how these tariffs are tallied, while officials at the Rwanda Energy Group have given assurances that energy costs in Rwanda will soon come down.
I can say in principle that the fuel power plants, the cost is around 27 to 32 cents per kilowatt hour. And if you read the article about the cost of power, this is the main cause that is increasing the cost of power in Rwanda. But the new power plant of Hakan is the price is much lower. It is 13.6 cents. The price of Shema Power is 9.7, and Rusumo it's even less than 8. So this reduction of cost of power, and these are big power plants. Hakan is 70 megawatt, Shema Power is 50 or even 56 megawatt, and Rusumo we are going to get a third of the availability of the power plant because it is for 3 countries. It will be 27 megawatt. So all these power stations are going to replace the use of fuel, and therefore the cost of power is going to be reduced.
Rwanda is aiming to provide electricity to every home by 2024, and the current figure stands at 68.48%. To get to 100%, it will cost the country more than $600 million to do it.
And now clocking to health matters. According to the Rwanda Biomedical Center, RBC, adolescents under the age of 18 go to the doctor of psychiatric treatment because of online abuse, and up to 65% of people go to doctor for treatment of insomnia due to the abuse of social media sites. Cedric Mbaraga has the report.
Young people between 12 and 18 years old are the most vulnerable to the effects of social media abuse on their mental health.
Abangavu n'ingimbi bari hagati y'imyaka 12 na 18.
Adolescents between 12 and 18 years old are 42% have mental health problems based on social media use, including depression and daily stress.
No kugira umuhangayiko wa buri kanya. Muri abo ngabo navuze.
Some of our clients have problems with the poor sleep, so about 65% of these young people came to us for treatment for poor sleep and are important to their health, which you can follow closely and find that they are related to the misuse of social media. People agree on consequences of misuse of social media for young people. There are times when some young people look at the social media as their peers improved and become too focused and endanger their mental health.
Young people who use social media are more likely to be addicted to drugs and prostitutions.
Nakirenderora, a doctor at Karayesi Hospital, explained the effect of their mental health as a result of misuse of social media.
Ikintu cya mbere nakubwira nuko turebye neza dusanga mu gukoresha imbuga nkoranyambaga nabi.
When criticizing the wrong use of social media, you realize that it gives a person access to information which he is not supposed to have depending on his age. This impacts his thinking, emotions, and it slowly destroys those senses. Secondly, even some misuse of social media and they become addicted. The two issues lead to persisting psychiatric problems in the future, resulting in mental health.
Yahi ati frère de la charité Karayisi Ndera Icyizere at Kicukiro. Dr. Nakirende said that misuse of social media, it's affected the mental health and advises the youth to use the social media as the return on investment. Cedric Mbaraga, RTV News.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Nimiza and I'll be your guest anchor tonight. In international news, in the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, instructors are giving last-minute trainings to the members of the 112th Territorial Defense Brigade as the Ukrainian military prepares to defend the city from a Russian attack. Some of the trainees are new recruits with no previous military experience. The trainings include how to operate anti-tank weapons provided by the Western allies.
And the story transitions us to our guest anchor segment tonight, Megan Nimiza. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. First of all, how does it feel reading news?
Well, it is a fun experience for my first time, but very scary, I'd say. But it was worth it. Yeah.
You did it so well.
I hope so.
Yeah, you
Thank
really
you.
did. You're welcome. And Megan, before we go to different questions and the interview, I want you to first take a look at this video and tell me what you think about it.
Miss Rwanda 2019 ni nomero 32 Miss Rwanda 2019 nimero 32 uyu niwe nyampinga w'u Rwanda 2019 nimero 32.
What has this video reminded you and what do you think about it?
This just took me back to 2019 and it just reminded me of how stressful, or I'd say there was a lot of pressure that night, but it also just reminded me how beautiful and shocking it was to hear my name or my number being announced as Miss Rwanda 2019. It was a very beautiful experience, but also very shocking. Yeah.
You must be loving number 32 right now. Do you love the number or?
I think it's my lucky number.
All right, Megan, a little bit about your background. Did you grow up envisioning to become Miss Rwanda or becoming a beauty queen in general?
Not really. I wouldn't say I grew up thinking I'd actually ever run for any beauty pageants, let alone Miss Rwanda, not even Miss High School. I'd say Miss Wellspring or Miss SOS. I never really thought I'd run for a beauty pageant. But also, I grew up thinking that my parents grew up teaching me that you should take advantage of all the platforms that are put in place for you, and one of them was Miss Rwanda. But I've never loved or envisioned myself being as a beauty queen growing up. But it's also something I loved seeing other people do it. But I was also somebody that was always in my the little bubble. And when I decided to step out of it, I think I got great results.
All right. And you just talked about the platform of Miss Rwanda. Do you think the platform is really worth joining? And right now, would you encourage a young girl that is watching us right now to join the platform?
Yeah, I'd say as a person that has been that has benefited from this platform and that has gone through the platform itself, I'd say it is really, really worth it. One of the reasons I'd say it's worth it, it just gives you, opens very many doors for you, for your dreams, for your career direction, where you want to be, what you want to do, what you have thought of doing but couldn't quite find a way to get there. The platform just opens up very many doors for you. And also I'd say it just helps you grow mentally, emotionally, and be ready to face different things out here. So I'd advise a young girl or somebody that has thought of joining Miss Rwanda or thought of using platforms that are available for them, that as a girl, of course, Miss Rwanda is one of the greatest and I'd say fastest platforms to reach your goals.
This question is unscripted. The whole experience, what does it take? What does it require to really stay who you are and achieve your dreams? Does it have any costs?
Yes, definitely everything comes with a cost. But I'd say, first of all, to stay who you are, it just requires you to, to first of all know who you are as a person and know what you stand for, and also know what you want to do. But I'd say it is very hard because the platform comes with fame. It comes with very many opportunities that it could be blinding, or I'd say it could be so hard for somebody to stay who they are. But if you know who you are, if you know, you're grounded to your roots, you're grounded to your beliefs, you're grounded to your norms, I'd say it is easy to think of that than think of what you might become because of a crown or because of a car or because of a certain salary that you earn every month. So it is easy for somebody that doesn't really know who they are to divert and change, but it's also very easy for somebody that knows who they are to stay grounded. So I'd say, yes, it comes with a cost, it comes with so much discipline, determination, but it's doable.
All right. Allow me to use this opportunity, as you are the spokesperson for the Miss Rwanda organization. Right now, the 20 ladies who are competing for the 2022 crown in the boot camp. A quick one, how is it at the boot camp?
It's very fun. The girls are very loving, very, it's actually something we've talked about with my colleagues. This promotion is the most loving and like most friendly, bonded promotion we've had so far, as far as I know, as far as I've been in the Miss Rwanda organization. They're very, very courageous, very open-minded, very talented, I'd say, very, very talented. And most of all, they're ready to take in whatever comes with a competition. So that could be winning, and that could be, I never use the word losing. I always say it's learning. So it could be winning or learning.
All right.
And they're very, ready, very healthy, working out, having fun, but also, learning new things in the bootcamp.
All right. It's only 1 week until the main day, the grand finale of Miss Rwanda 2022. So what should people expect on the night of 19th of March?
Okay, on the 19th of March, of course, people should expect a grand, beautiful night, I'd say. We will have very many performances, but of course, what will be the main or the center of attraction is our Miss Rwanda 2022. So yeah, expect a new Miss Rwanda, of course. Expect a fun, beautiful night. We'll have different performances from the Nyundo School of Creative Arts and Music that will be performing live. We'll have performance from Bruce Melody, a very loved and celebrated artist in Rwanda, and we'll have the 19 girls, show us what they learned in this course of 3 weeks. So it will be a very beautiful night. It will be a very fun and entertaining night, but also, a night we'll get a new beauty queen, our Miss Rwanda 2022.
So gladly people are now allowed to attend the event?
Yes. It's actually a great thing that people are very welcome to attend the event, unlike last year where we had a very, just a televised event. For now, people will be allowed to attend. From 5 p.m., the gates will be open. The show will start at 7 p.m. And we have the tickets out already at our website, ticket.rw. For the early birds, of course, it's 10K for 10,000 Rwandan francs for regular, 20,000 francs for VIP, and then 30,000 francs for VVIP, early birds.
All right.
And then at the gate, we'll have 20K, 20,000 for regular, and 30,000 for VIP, and then 50,000 for VVIP.
All right. Megan, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And lastly about you, what is this one thing that very many people don't know about Nimiza Megan?
One thing I think I'm an open book.
Okay.
I'd say I'm an open book, but
Right.
one thing people do not know about me, as long as you're not gonna ask me to do it, I can sing a bit, just a little bit.
Okay, we can remember from Miss World.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome any other time.
Thank you.
All right. And of course, this sums out tonight's edition. And up until next time, stay safe and enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.